Experiment time. Today we're going to amp up the electricity savings by steaming the bread outside the oven. Hi, I'm Sune and I'm a food geek. Today's experiment is part of my series on saving electricity when you're baking. If you want to see all of the experiments, I have a playlist linked in the card above. So what are we trying today? Well, one of my viewers explained that because they have a small oven, they'd heat 2 cast iron pots in the oven, but when it was time to bake, they'd put 1 loaf inside the pot inside of the oven and 1 loaf in the pot that they put outside of the oven, essentially steaming one of the loaves outside of the oven. That sounds pretty neat. If you have a large oven, maybe you can use this method to bake even more bread while saving electricity. We'll compare the crust, the crumb, and the taste in this experiment. I'm wearing the shirt from another YouTuber, Life of Birch. I won the shirt in a giveaway for his patrons. It's a motorcycle channel, and it's a channel that I watch almost every time he posts a new video. The channel mixes install videos, test rides, vlogging, tacos, and shenanigans. I came for the info, but I stayed for the person. Isn't it often like that? If it sounds like something that you'd find entertaining, I've left a link for this channel in the description. If you're new to this channel, I bake a lot of sourdough bread and I make delicious food from all over the world. If you want to see more of this content, please join me by subscribing and ringing the bell so you won't miss any future videos. I'm using my standard experiment dough, 80% bread flour, 20% rye flour, 80% hydration, 20% inoculation, and 2% salt. The dough itself is not essential for the experiment, but as we've seen how it performs in handling, rise, oven spraying, crust, and crumb, it makes it easier to compare across experiments. If you'd like to support the channel, please consider buying some merch or using the links in the description for tools and ingredients. Those were the words. This is the experiment. I'm not going to go into detail about making the dough, but I'll quickly go over how I put it together. First, I mix everything for the dough. Then I leave it to rest for an hour to develop the gluten. Then I do 3 sets of stretch and folds spaced out by 30 minutes. After that, I put the dough into a bulking container and let it rise to about 25%. Then I split the dough into 2 equally sized pieces. I pre-shape each piece into a ball. And I final shape the loaves. Then I put them in the fridge overnight. I used to hate facial hair, but then it grew on me. The following day I heat my oven to 260 degrees Celsius, 500 degrees Fahrenheit with my Challenger and a large combo cooker inside. As you can tell, there isn't room to be able to have both Dutch ovens in the oven at the same time, at least not with bread in it. When the oven's hot, I grab a loaf from the fridge, dust it, flip it, score it, and then I retrieve the bottom of the Dutch oven from the hot oven. And I put the loaf inside, I get the top, and place it on the bottom. Then I get the other loaf, Dust it. Flip it. Score it. And then I bake it. And I bake for 20 minutes. Then I reveal the control bread. Looks great. And reveal the bread steamed outside. That looks somewhat sad. I put it in for browning. It's a bit snug, but the angle is not so important now. And I turn down the oven to 230 degrees Celsius, 450 degrees Fahrenheit. And I bake for 25 minutes more. Then I take out both loaves. Nope, the other spot. This looks a lot less sad now. Alright, time to have a look at the crumb. Okay, time for a sniff and taste test. Wonderful bready smell. Both the wheat and the rye comes through. It has a crunchy crust and a soft crumb. The crust tastes a bit bitter, but it's not overpowering. It has a moderate sourness, just how I like it. An excellent, well-developed taste. It both smells and tastes delicious. Alright, let's see how the other bread stacks up. The smell is the same, without a doubt. The crust tastes less bitter, but it's also less crunchy. The rest of the bread tastes the same as the control. So while it looked like it was going to fail in the middle of the bake, it turned out great. The oven spring was comparable in size, but not nearly as explosive. By no means small, but very usable. It was interesting to see how the loaf hadn't entirely sprung after 20 minutes, so optimizing the time outside of the oven for better oven spring may be possible. The crust of the bread steamed outside was nearly as dark as the control, so if you want the same finish of each bread, you need to take the bread steamed inside of the oven out before the other one. This likely is because the bread steamed outside became significantly colder. After all, the temperature of the Dutch oven wasn't being maintained. I hope you learned something today. See you next time.